Yeah! YouTube, what up? Welcome to another edition, a special edition of Wrestling with Watts, and I'm Watts. Regret to inform you guys, if you haven't heard yet, which is crazy, and that means you probably
sleeping under a rock or something.
But the unfortunate passing of Hulk Hogan, wrestling legend, wrestling icon, all of that, you name it. Now, I was going to get on this and I was going to be petty. I was going to be disrespectful. I was going to talk crazy, but I did all of that when he was still alive. Reference one of my past videos from January. Seated hairline, trying to cover it with the headband. You can't cover that with the headband, Hulk Hogan. You can't cover it with the headband, Hulk Hogan. I think that was the Netflix special when he got booed out of the building. But I decided I'm going to take a different approach. I decided I was going to take the approach of letting the people decide. The people in the comments, the people that reshare this, the people who are just there to simply just spectate. What I mean by that is, does Hulk Hogan's contributions to the wrestling world, his contributions to WCW, WWE, and everything in between, does any of that, and ladies and gentlemen, if you hear horns outside, that's because I live in New York City and I live on a very busy street. But that's neither here nor there. Let me continue. Does Hulk Hogan's contributions to the wrestling world and making wrestling what it is today, and how wrestling turned into pop culture in a way, does that all overshadow and excuse Hulk Hogan the person? Now, when I say Hulk Hogan the person and his contributions, I mean in the mid 80s, all you seen was Hulkamania. Everybody wanted to wear the shirts. Everybody wanted the action figures. Everybody wanted the bandanas. Everybody wanted 20-inch pythons like him. Everybody and their mom wanted a Hulk Hogan DVD. Anything that Hulk Hogan was on was selling. He was putting asses in seats. He saved the WWF. Definitely saved WWF. And then when he left the WWF, he went to WCW and was a huge part of the reason why the Monday Night Wars occurred in the first place, and went on to continue to have a legendary career as he came back to the WWE for a final run. Now, that was just me shortening it, but I'm talking about ads. I'm talking about placements in movies. I'm talking about the fact that Mr. T and him went face to face. I'm talking about all of the movies. I'm talking about Hollywood. I'm talking about how Hulk Hogan was a millionaire, one of the first millionaires in wrestling, and the fact that we don't get any of this without Hulk Hogan's contributions. But does that allow us to look past the fact that he was a bigot? He was a liar. He was a cheater. He was bottom of the barrel and a scumbag to those who cared about him. His own daughter doesn't even talk to him. And we all know the bigotry. We all know how he really feels about people with my skin and those who are on the African diaspora. He has the same mentality that a slave master from 100 years ago has, or had, to be honest. Nobody forgot, and this is why people treat Hulk Hogan, or treated Hulk Hogan the way they did during the later stages. Hulk Hogan only cared about Hulk Hogan. We know that. We know that Hulk Hogan was an avid drug abuser in the 80s and the 90s. We all know that. I'm going to move all of that to the side, and I'm going to talk about the real spill. The racism. And ironically, he transitioned on the same day that those recordings were released of him saying the N-word with the hard R. The hard R, by the way. So, at the end of the day, I know that the WWE is going to glaze him. I also know that the WWE is going to put him in high regard, 10 bell salute, all of this good stuff, because of his transition. And they were able to look past a lot of the racism because we know what type of company the WWE is now. But I'm going to highlight it. I'm going to talk about it. At the end of the day, I can't excuse the fact that one Hulk Hogan has the same mentality of that of a slave master from 200 years ago. I can't excuse that because of the fact that even in his recording and saying the hard R, he basically said, "Oh, if you're gonna do X, Y, and Z with the N word, at least make sure it's one of those basketball playing N words." And if you're well versed in slave history, you know, on the slave trade, they compared how big you were, how wide you were, your weight, your stature, and they used all of those intangibles to decide whether or not they wanted to buy the slave and use that slave for procreation. And that's exactly what Hulk Hogan was referring to when he said, if you're going to get an N word, get one of those 7-foot basketball playing N words that have money. Basically saying, if you want to procreate with my daughter and you're black, you got to make sure that you have a black child that can jump out the motherfucking gym, for lack of a better term. That's how I see it. And at the end of the day, I don't like that. Racism, racism, racism. I'm going to be real. The racism to me outweighs everything he's done for the business. Outweighs everything he's done for careers. Outweighs everything he done for sports entertainment. But that's just me. I'm going to take the high road. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say rest in peace or nothing like that. I might just say rest in piss. But the real spill is that I'm going to leave you guys to decide what you guys want to say. I'm going to leave you guys to decide what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Because I know in my heart of hearts how I really feel. And I think I've done a pretty damn good job of displaying how I really feel about Hulk Hogan. But, I did it when he was alive. So it ain't no point in me running around trying to get clickbaity and talk about, oh, Hulk Hogan this, Hulk Hogan that. At the end of the day, the Reaper said, Hulk Hogan, we coming for you, nigga. But yo, ladies and gentlemen, it's Watts. Thank you for all of the subscriptions. I appreciate you guys. At the end of the day, the WWE got to live with morality. At the end of the day, the people behind the screen got to live behind the morality of this. So at the end of the day, let God sort them out. I'm out. Peace.